Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the super guide for taking on the boss Professor Putricide from the Knights of the Frozen Throne adventure, Ice Crown. I know I've been doing these very intermittently lately, but as the puzzle lab approaches for the Boomsday Project, gonna try sneak in one or two more of these, try wrap these up. Professor Putricide, there's basically two things you do. Build any decent deck, decent competitive deck. Just throw in some weapon removal because he has an obnoxious weapon. Throw in some secret removal because he plays a ton of secrets because of his initial hero power. So, you know, Eater of Secrets, Kazan Mystic. And the third thing is not about what else you put in your deck. You basically just need a decent deck, but how to play it. So you need to know the transitions he makes, which is when he loses his armor the first time. His new hero power is not really the big deal, but the fact that he will get a minion which deals 3 damage to your board. So it could, if you've built a good board and you hit him, you suddenly lose the board potentially. So you actually want to wait until you know that you have enough minions on board that even as you hit him, you'll be able to kill this minion that shows up. And if you are not ready to be able to take it down, just don't attack. Just don't put him down to having no armor. And this, you want to leave a little bit of buffer because he can suddenly play a weapon and put himself down to that armor and clear your board. You just don't want to lose control of the board. If it means waiting for 3-4 turns of just not attacking, it's still best for you. Like, he doesn't have burst or huge, you know, huge board clears or something, so you basically just need to not get screwed over by those transitions. The first being the one I just described. The second is that when you get rid of his armor the second time, he gets a rot face. And if you're not prepared for that, he can suddenly attack it into a minion of yours, get a whirlwind effect, generate 2 legendaries, maybe they're a giant like Tyrantus or Cthulhu or whoever, and suddenly you can lose again. So basically, again, just don't get rid of his armor until you have, you know, an 8 attack minion or a removal spell where you know you'll be able to deal with the rot face immediately and not risk losing the game because you're unprepared. That's pretty much it. Weapon removal, secret removal, a decent deck, and deliberately not attacking to put him down to get rid of his armor in each of his transition phases until you know you are ready to deal with the minions that pop up. That's the strategy that pretty much applies to every deck, but we'll look at the particular decks I use to take him down with each class. First off is a Druid. We see the weapon removal we were talking about with Gluttonous Oozes, which also gain you health, and Harrison Jones, of course, to draw a bunch of cards because his weapon does have a lot of charges. We see the secret removal in the form of Kazan Mystics and Eater of Secrets. Other than, we even include mulches for the reason I just said. Giving him a random minion, not a big deal, but it just gives you instant removal of his 2 threats, like Rot Face for the transitions, that once you have that in hand, you know you can deal with that when it pops up, assuming you leave yourself enough mana. Otherwise, it's just like a solid Druid deck. Generally looking to like generate a wide board with things like Haunted Creeper, Spreading Plague, buff it potentially with things like Strong Shell Scavenger, Malfurion the Pestilence, always good. You have the Lich King, always good to see the boss's reactions. Malorn, if you somehow do get to Fatigue, is just infinite. You probably replace that with Jade Idols, though. That's infinite while generating you bigger and bigger guys. Nowadays, you'd put in Ultimate Infestations too. Piloted Shredded, you're just looking for it's kind of like a tempo-ish deck. Tempo-ish board-centric deck while having the tools we talked about. The weapon removal, the secret removal, and the instant removal even with mulch. In Hunter, it's definitely nice to include Professor Putricide himself. There's some fun dialogue when you play Professor Putricide against Professor Putricide. Playing a bunch of secrets like bear traps, explosive traps because of the 1/1s he puts out. Your secrets are free too, so that's why, you know, it makes sense to put in a bunch of secrets that as you draw you can all play for free. The Eaglehorn bows to go with it, the weapon and secret removal like we talked about, you know, and your usual value cards with Piloted Shredder. Deathstalker Rexar is a fun one. Playing the Death Knights in this adventure is pretty much always fun because there's scripted dialogue and the they're just really strong, always, the Death Knights. At our top end, we have Gladiator Longbows for immune removal, Savannah Highmane, and Lich King again. The Exodia Mage deck I built is actually kind of dumb, because the idea is, oh, you don't need to worry about the transitions because you just instantly kill him, or infinitely kill him through all three. The problem is, his last phase, cards cost 5, so even your theoretically free fireballs are costing you 5, so you can't infinite him. But manage to win easily with the deck anyway. You have a lot of stall with your ice barriers and ice blocks. Again, your secrets are free in that first phase, but we have Arcanologists to draw them and Mad Scientists to pull them out as well. It is quest rogue, so you're looking to get Open the Waygate, get your combo with Sorcerers, Apprentices, run duplicates and frozen clones. Again, secrets are good, and if you get a duplicate, well, you're not going to risk trying to get a duplicate of Sorcerer's Apprentice, given that it might backfire. But you're looking to Molten Reflection those, get your Archmage Antonidas out, finish the quest, and get a bunch of fireballs to burn through his minions and get to that final phase. Paladin, I went back to the more straightforward approach of secret removal, weapon removal, and just a tempo board-centric deck. We have Forbidden Healings for a ton of healing if you really need it, and then lots of ways of generating dudes between Lost in the Jungle, Muster for Battle, Stand Against Darkness, ways to buff them like Light Fuse Stegodons. You could put level up now as well. Quartermaster, Sludge Belcher, Vine Cleaver to generate more, Ragnar's Lightlord for healing and a big threat, Lich King, Tyrion, Fordring, Uther of the Ebon Blade, powerful late game cards if you've survived up till that point. Another strong deck against Putricide. And nothing all that different going on with Priest. We have our secret and weapon removal. We have our Northshire Cleric to help us draw cards early, so Finley Murgleton to get a better hero power. Shadow Visions to look for your removal spells like Shadow Word Pain is what you want for that first transition. I think if I remember right, it's a 3-attack minion that does the deal 3 damage to everyone. Shadow Word Horror gives you good ways to remove if he does get a bunch of those, I forget what they're called. They're oozes that like grow by 1 each turn. Your Shadow Reaper Anduin is pretty much your end game to be able to clear things easily, clear any big minions he's got out. The Curator draws you your Sir Finley, your Alex Strasza to be able to put him down low, and again including Lich King, just really high value card in these matchups. We play the Death Knight in Rogue to be able to double up on our cards, and this Rogue deck is a bit more Death Rattle centric, where we don't have a huge amount of Death Rattles, but enough between our Shredders and Belchers that getting out an Azath at the end is pretty much game winning as well. Again, we have the secret and weapon removal, Saronite Chain Gangs for some defensive plays. Valspine Slayer is a beautiful way to deal with those transition minions that you want to kill when you immediately when you do get his armor down each time, and otherwise you just develop onto the board and slowly kill him. Shaman, I went a bit overboard and created a Highlander deck, the centerpiece of course being Reno Jackson, which lets you heal all the way back up to full, and in general it's just a tempo deck. It has a lot of answers. You can generate a wide board with things like Doppelgangster and then evolve, or Thrall Deathseer. The Death Knight, once you have a wide board is really good. Bloodlust to be able to finish him off. You have a couple of 2-ofs, even though it's a Highlander deck. The secret removal is just so important. We still include 2-ofs of Eater of Secrets and Khazan Mystic, but we only have one Gluttonous Ooze, Harrison Jones again, Lich King as always, Volcano to be able to clear his board if you really need to. Just good value cards like Shredder and Sludge Belcher again. Maelstrom Portal, good for clearing his early oozes. Doomsayer as well. Devolve is a way to deal with like his rock face that comes out if you don't have your hard removal like Hex. Just so many tools in this deck. The nice thing about a Highlander deck, given it's not an insanely hard matchup, is, you know, it plays a bit differently each time. Given the 1-ofs and the nature of the deck, you kind of get different tools each time, and usually there's a way to figure out how to use them to have comfortable control of the game. In the case of Warlock, pretty much if you can get to your Blood Reaver Gul'dan, you've won. He's just so stupid powerful to be able to deal damage and heal every single turn. Like, you're just not gonna lose unless, again, you've played into his rot face and given him a ton of, like, amazing minions. You have Siphon Soul to easily deal with those minions you needed at the transitions. Blast Crystal Potion will do the job too. You have your weapon removal and your secret removal, and your value minions, again, like Belchers and Shredders. Heal bots for heal. Most of these decks, like, he can put pressure on early because of his oozes and secrets. You can fall behind, and he has the crazy weapon. So most of them have included some form of heal. With 2 heal bots and later being able to Blood Reaver Gul'dan, shouldn't have a problem. Warlock, very powerful deck to take him out with. The last class left is Warrior. It's called Fake News, everybody, as he keeps saying good news and bad news. Not rocket science. Again, we have our secret removal, our weapon removal. We have Acolyte for good card draw. Our Death Rattle cards we love, like Shredder and Belcher, with Saronite Chain Gangs to stall, heal bots for healing, Justicar Trueheart to be able to armor up like crazy, Shield Maidens to keep that armor going and get value out of our shield slams, and then our late game we can get value out of Ysera, slam an Azoth to get a big wide board, play the Lich King to get value. Just so many options how you want to finish off the game once you've stabilized. And finally, we look at how to do it with a super budget deck, a deck of basic and common cards only. I went with Mage, and you have your value early game like Zombie Chow. For weapon removal, we need to go with, what's it called? Common removal, like Acidic Swamp Oozes, and Toxic Sewer Oozes to be able to remove his weapons. Arcanologist to draw our secrets that we can still play for free, like duplicates and frozen clones, and get some cards from him. Medivh's Valets to take advantage of that. Explosive Sheep to be able to have an answer to kind of early oozes he might get out. A lot of this is reactionary. So I asked, can this actually finish him off? What can get us there? Essentially, we just have one big threat, the Ultrasaur, which once we've super stabilized, have some smaller minions on board to be able to help us with trading. We have Polymorphs to deal with those minions he comes out with at the transitions that are dangerous, like Rotface. Between Firelands, Portal, and Ultrasaur, that is enough to get you there at the very end, once you've stabilized, dealt with his threats, and just chip away at his life total. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how to beat Professor Putricide with every single hero class, even a deck of basic and common cards only if you're on budget. Good luck out there, and see you next time.